For basically my entire life, I genuinely believed I was just going to be alone. Like, not in a dramatic way. I just accepted it. I was top of my class, decent looking, still am, I guess, and confident in front of crowds. But around women, I was completely useless. That was just me. And for the longest time, I thought that was going to continue to be me, because the world didn't give me any reason to think otherwise. But it's that kind of thinking that I think has the potential to fully hold us back. I'm a normal 25-year-old dude, grew up in Vancouver, lots of friends, I played video games, the whole thing. I'd say maybe I played a little bit too much video games growing up. Yes, I had friends, in school and outside of school, but the majority of my time, free time at least, was spent playing Call of Duty. It was Black Ops 2 that was the main game of choice for me and my gaming friends. Add on some GTA and some Minecraft here and there. We graduated to some other Call of Duties later on, but really, Black Ops and Black Ops 2 was the peak. We played that game even when the newer CODs were out. And even though I was a dedicated gamer, I still put a lot of emphasis on my academics and maintaining the parts of myself that I wanted to present to the world. I finished second in my graduating high school class in total GPA, and I was the top of my program at radio school in college. Speaking of which, yeah, I went to radio school. Public speaking and vocal presentation was a very big part of my identity as a high schooler, and it was something that I wanted to do as a career. For the most part, I've been able to establish that for myself, outside of radio, but via other means. But all's that to say is that I developed the proper skills to be an excellent verbal communicator, confident on a mic, confident in front of people, not afraid to do in-person presentations, not afraid to present my ideas and my thoughts. And I was very proud of the development that I had personally as a high school student and a young adult. All while, of course, playing my video games and hanging out with my friends after school. But there was always one thing that I never really got much growing up. If you put a girl I liked in front of me, I was a completely different person. And that right there was the problem. I'm a Gen Z guy, so I feel validated to use these kinds of words, but I had zero rizz. Zero idea of how the whole attraction thing worked. Yes, I could physically talk to women, girls in my class, girls at my part-time job at McDonald's. It was fine. But while many of my friends throughout high school and early college were getting girlfriends and they were going on dates, I never really got that. And it wasn't for a lack of effort. I had crushes, I had girls that I liked, I had girls that I was interested in, but the ones that I manned up and confessed or asked out, I got treated with some harsh rejections, and the ones that I was too scared to ask out ended up becoming a big waste of my time mentally for years, where some of my friends were getting high school girlfriends and they were meeting people that would become a big part of their lives. I was thinking, well, I get better grades than this guy, and I'm working more hours than this guy, so God made everybody equal. I had this idea that because I was dedicating more time and more resources to other parts of my life, it was a big substitute for building relationships with women and trying to find that special someone. The video game world would act as a comfort zone and a social substitute, and I was okay with that. Watching my friends figure it out and just accepting that this was not something that I was going to have happen to me. But that's the problem in itself. The idea that this was going to happen to me, and not understanding the amount of work that it takes to actually find these things for yourself as well. Throughout COVID and the pandemic, this is when my career really started to take off. I make YouTube commentary videos about sports, and once COVID hit, everybody was inside, everybody was just watching YouTube videos all day, and it allowed me an opportunity to pounce on a market that was untapped. I was able to get a sustainable, livable monthly wage For years, this has been my career, and it still is to this day, and I am very grateful. But throughout COVID-19, I ended up getting a few situationships with some women that I met on dating apps, others that I met online, that didn't really go anywhere. Despite the fact that I personally would get attached to some women, it didn't really go to the places that I had hoped, and I didn't really have much experience in the real world going out on dates, and as a result, the way that I treated my online situationships and communications on dating apps was very bizarre. It was almost like I would text them like a mirror. If they'd use a lot of emojis, I'd use a lot of emojis. The kind of language and the lingo that a Gen Z girl would use on a social media texting chat, I would use those same phrases in an effort to say, hey, we are similar and therefore we should be connected. But it was that kind of behavior that I think now really bit me in the behind with how I came across when communicating with these women. I think it was really obvious that there was an awkwardness about me. I would treat women differently than I would treat my own friends. I would put them on pedestals, and there was a weird energy that came from that. Every decision that they would do was so amazing, and I was so happy and proud of them for being able to do these things and make these decisions about their lives. I became a cheerleader, just validating everything, and I'm sure that some of these ladies liked that validation, but many of them, and rightfully so, got sick of it. Hey, who is this guy? He is a YouTuber, but he doesn't really add any value to my life, and he's just complimenting me all the time, and he's praising everything that I do. And that behavior subconsciously drove women away. And over time, in the first few years of the 2020s, I just kind of accepted that that was how it was. I'd meet someone, we'd chat a bit, and then it would fizzle away, and that was that. I wasn't going on forums or anything like that, but my mindset, the women don't want me, I'm just built different, I might as well accept it mindset, yeah, I was there. And so things changed later in 2023. You see, in 2020, 2021, and 2022, I was already doing my job full-time, and I'd accrued a pretty decent amount of money, especially for a Gen Zer in that time. I had a lot of savings, I had a lot of extra funds, and I thought to myself, let's just start dating. Seriously. I signed up for the apps, used my quote-unquote YouTuber status to get as many matches as possible, and I ended up having a 2023 that did not go all too well. No dating experience meant no calibration. I would get emotionally attached to all the women that I would match with and go out on dates with fast, all while still treating them in the same way I would treat my high school crushes. These women were doing me a favor by going out with me and entertaining my conversations with them. I had the duty to show them a good time, and it was my responsibility to make myself look appealing enough to them. Dating's supposed to be a two-way street. You're trying to see if they're a good fit for you, they're trying to see if you're a good fit for them. It's not all just gesture maxing. You putting on your absolute best foot forward and trying to make yourself appear like the perfect guy. And as a result, I went through multiple heartbreaks throughout the course of 2023. The first girl that I had met in February of 2023, we went out on multiple dates. I paid for everything, of course, flexing that YouTube money right there for ya. And I actually asked her to be my girlfriend. Unfortunately, she said yes, which got my hopes way too high up, until the next few days when she ghosted me, then told me that she didn't see me as boyfriend material, and then proceeded to block me shortly after that. That was a traumatic experience, but it's one where, looking back on it, I can honestly understand where she was coming from. I didn't really give her any room to be herself or to express herself when we were dating. I just took her to places and paid for stuff and tried to show her around. I wasn't really being authentic to who I was, and I don't think she had the opportunity to do that either. And she was just one of the multiple girls that had quote-unquote broken my heart throughout 2023. The specific dynamic for someone who had never dated getting hit hard by rejection for the first time in his early 20s when everyone else already went through that at 16 was a devastating feeling to experience for the first time. I would meet other girls, we'd go out once or twice, and the same thing would keep on happening. I was trying a little bit too hard, trying to think, hey, I have everything that I need. I have a career, I have confidence in myself, I can speak. All I gotta do is be personable, and girls will be interested. Maybe interested at first, but upon going out with me for a while, it would be blatantly obvious that I was not ready for any kind of relationship in the first place. And that was a really stark lesson to learn at 23 years old. And here's the kicker of it all of this attention that I started to put towards dating and the dating apps and conversing and having situationships and going out with people, all of this took away from my career. I am and was a full-time YouTuber making commentary videos on sports, and so dedicating more time towards women did reduce the amount of time and dedication and craft that I would put towards my own career. And 2023 saw my YouTube revenue struggle to maintain afloat. So at the start of 2024, things were a little bit different. I decided, hey, I'm kind of done with this whole dating thing. I'm just gonna leave it. I got my heart broken too many times, and I need to focus more time on my career, too. The first half of 2024 was free of dating. I didn't go out with anybody, I didn't match with anybody, I stopped using the apps. And I started making a lot more money than I had ever had in the past because I was putting more time and more dedicated effort towards making my videos. I focused my intentions towards the grind of my work, and for the first time in over a year, I felt internally like my purpose in life was no longer trying to impress women and trying to get anybody to like me, but it was to try and just build the best brand that I could online. And I know where my skills are. I know what I'm good at. So focusing more time on my YouTube channel and my career boded very well for the financial success of my channel and the long-term health of my career as a whole. Having a stronger purpose outside of dating removed the desperation energy that I was emanating when I would talk to women. There was a big confidence shift that came from not really needing it anymore, and being secure in the job that I had and the person that I was, just knowing that I was able to accomplish something that I put my mind to. And so taking a break from the dating apps and from actually talking to situationships throughout the first half of 2024 really allowed my brain to just recalibrate itself, to just focus on what was important at that time. Sure, I might have still instinctually thought that I was involuntarily celibate. Nobody likes me, nobody wants me. But for the first time in my early 20s, I felt like that was okay. And maybe not even okay, but that was just not relevant. I wasn't eagerly beating myself up saying, oh no, people do like me, I'm so amazing, I'm so worthy of being liked and loved. But it just didn't really enter my mind at all. And the confidence that I had built for myself in 2024 ended up becoming the biggest strength in my life personally. I was always good at public performance and being genuine. But in dating, that was the one place where I wore a mask. I was weird and nervous around women because that was a character I thought the situation required. I didn't have much experience talking to women in my high school years, so I thought there was an entire other instruction manual to read in order to master talking to ladies. And so accepting the fact that I might have just been wrong about that and choosing to ignore it entirely to focus on my career at the start of 2024 was a pretty big change mentally for me. Towards the summer of 2024, I started using the dating apps again. My job had kind of slowed down because it was the off-season for the main sport that I cover, and so I was thinking, why not start things up again? After a 6-7 month hiatus of not using any dating apps, I just decided to open the old Hinge and see what happened. And funnily enough, I ended up matching with somebody really quickly. 2 years later, this woman is my girlfriend, and we are getting married later this year. 2 years, is that too quick? I don't know, you can be the judge. But what I do know is that this plan is what works for us, and that we have been very smart about our decisions, our plan, and the entire story of what we want our lives to be. And it wasn't until I met her that I realized that there really is somebody for everybody. I'm not saying that there is only one individual person that exists for every one individual person in the world, but what I am saying is there's a lot of work mentally that needs to go into being able to find somebody. And for the most part, all the advice sounds like total BS. You've heard it before. Be yourself, go to the gym, and good things will come. But it's hard to fully internalize that until you actually live it. The point here isn't, oh, get a dating app and find love. The point is, I was a different person entirely when I restarted using those apps. I went from a guy with zero dating experience at 23 years old to being as comfortable, confident, and in love with my life, my partner, and my circumstances than ever before. It was just 2-3 years ago that I felt like I was going to be alone forever. If you're in that kind of a place right now, the one where you've just accepted being alone, I'm not going to tell you that it gets better if you just believe in yourself, or you just start going to the gym. That's not what happened for me. What happened is I stopped making it the main thing. I got my own life in order, and stopped pretending to be someone I thought women wanted. That was it. It came across in my dating, it came across in the way I interacted with women, and especially my current girlfriend. It came across in all elements of life. I could go to a party and just experience what happens. Let it happen to me. Not trying to force things, not trying to be the life of the party, not trying to impress people. Just going and seeing what happens, because I could look at my achievements and I can look at myself and be proud of the person I've become. And I think for a lot of guys that I'm friends with that still have this forever alone mentality, it becomes easy to spot whom it is does not feel that way about their lives. And I'm not saying that it's an easy fix, but what I am saying is there is a blueprint that you can follow. You just have to allow yourself to become who you need to be, and to build yourself up to a way that you are genuinely confident in who you are. If the world doesn't see it, then that's okay. You still have work to do, and that's fine. But take it from a guy like me, who went from hopeless, obsessed with video games, stayed in his room all day, didn't talk to any woman, to where I am now. I'm the last person that I ever thought would be able to say that it is possible to get a relationship and to find meaning and value in the life of somebody outside of your own. Anyways, that's a story. If this hit, stick around. I'm going to keep talking about this stuff. Like, subscribe, and let's build our lives one piece at a time. Thank you for your time, and bye.